Peace will fill the world when we finally understand that only from within can it be spread throughout the land. Every single person living peace in what we do, only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true.
Good morning, friends. I'm Leona Evans, minister at Unity of San Luis Obispo, an inclusive, progressive, spiritual community affirming the good in all life. Welcome to our Sunday morning live stream. It's a joy to be here. It's a pleasure to welcome you, and I'm delighted that you're here to join us for another opportunity to affirm the presence and power of God, the living Spirit of truth, within us and within all people everywhere. Well, we have a very special message for you today, another opportunity to wake up to our divine potential and learn more and more about how to use it to its highest advantage to bless not only ourselves but others as well. So, let's begin our service by just relaxing into this present moment and to become conscious of how powerful our attention is. We are here to awaken to the deeper reality of who we are, and that requires our full attention, our patience, and our understanding. So, let's begin by taking a deep breath and relaxing right where we are. Make sure you allow those extraneous thoughts that move into our consciousness almost unconsciously to relax. Let's lay aside those thoughts and those ideas and those worries and just be fully present here in this moment to celebrate life, our divine life. Once again, breathe deeply. Make sure you're comfortable, alert, and focused on this present moment. And let us affirm together, I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Once again, I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And so it is. Amen. Let's open our service as always with a wonderful joy song performed by Matthew J. Evans.
Good morning. Today we're going to sing There's Never Been a Better Time by Mark Welch. Please sing along with the lyrics on the bottom of the screen. There's never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Never been a better time to see our full worth. Let our scattered vision realign. There's never been a better time to start a new life. Never been a better time for truth. Never been a better time to turn it all around. Catch up to the dreams we have pursued. Enter this time of holy invitation to celebrate life. A billion years we have been in preparation. Well, now the time is here for us to free up every part of us. Step into the whole of what we are. There's never been a better time to radiate the light. Never been a darker time to see. Never been a darker time so filled with possibility. Breathing in the darkness to be free. There's never been a better time to crawl out of the past. Never been a better time for humans. Never been a better time for this whole universe. Let fall away the cloak of ignorance. Enter this time of holy invitation to celebrate life. A billion years we have been in preparation. Well, now the time is here for us to free up every part of us. Step into the whole of what we are. There's never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Never been a better time to be on this earth. Never been a better time to rise. Have a great morning, everybody.
Thank you so much, Matthew. That was just lovely. Those lyrics are so powerful. There's never been a better time to be on this earth. It is so filled with possibilities. It is this time that we can make a change. Well, it's this time that we need to make a change. And so, yes, there's never been a better time to be on this earth, and it is incumbent upon us to take the responsibility of truly knowing who we are, what it is that we want to change, what it is that we want to experience in our world, and to become what it is that we want to experience, and let our light shine so that others can take our example. This is our goal, and we are worthy of it. Why do you think it is that most people don't get motivated or don't even wake up unless there are desperate times, unless things are so challenging for us that we're no longer able to tolerate the current situation? Why do we wait that long? Well, probably because we don't feel strong enough, we don't feel worthy enough, we don't understand exactly the situation that we're in, and so we tend to minimize it. You know, anytime we don't feel strong enough to handle something, it's because we've chosen to minimize it in order to fit our perception of our current abilities. A lot of people say, it's not that bad. Don't worry about it. Don't get excited over nothing. And I think those are really good points, but they're only well made when it applies to the situation that we're in. This situation that we're in, the socio-political one, is not something to minimize. It is very, very challenging to those of us who are interested in what our future holds, which I hope would be most people. Right now, we're polarized, not only in this country, but in many governments around the world, a polarization that is pitting people against each other. People who are very patriotic, all people who are very sincere, people who really, really want to make a positive difference. And so, yes, we're united on that front. What separates us is the methodology that we choose to use, the methodology which stems from our culture, our understanding of the human condition, our understanding of the possibility for humankind, and the way in which those ideals can be accomplished. We're opposed to how that works. Is it a government of the people, by the people, for the people? Is it a government that is reigned over by benevolent dictators who know what's best for us? Those ideas are opposed to one another. Now, the biggest problem with opposition is not feeling strong enough to handle it, not wanting to deal with opposition, wanting things to be pleasant, wanting things to be nice, wanting to maintain the status quo, not wanting to anger anyone. Well, that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem in terms of the human condition is not really understanding what happens when we don't allow ourselves to express our feelings. That is not a permanent situation. Not allowing ourselves to express our feelings is not permanent, because every once in a while there's an explosion. And all of the pent-up emotions, all of the pent-up frustrations, all of the pent-up anger have to find a way out. And because many of us don't know really how to do that, we're kind of stuck on a pendulum swing within our own consciousness. No, I don't want to make waves. No, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be in the front line of controversy. I just want things to be nice, and because of that, I'm sure everything will work out. Is that a place of strength, or do you hear the weakness coming out in that philosophy? There's an alternative that comes from waking up to our divine potential. And that alternative perspective is this: I see things that anger and frustrate me. I see things that are frightening to me. I want to make a change. And even though I might not exactly know how to participate in that change, I'm willing to learn, because I know that I have what it takes to let my light shine so brilliantly. To let my light shine so brilliantly that there is a shift in the consciousness of humankind, that I don't have to have enemies, that I don't have to want to get rid of people. I don't have to be afraid that people want to get rid of me. I can understand and live with the conflict. I can understand and live with the opposition, knowing that I'm doing everything I can to be lifted from that polarized anger and fear that is overtaking us now. And my lesson today is about action and reaction. It's about understanding that no matter how frightened we are of controversy, the antidote to that is going within to the place of all possibilities and pure potential, and realizing that there are reasons why this situation is taking place right now in such an exaggerated way. People calling each other names, people using language that we haven't heard in public for years, people hating one another, people accusing one another, people angry, so very angry that there doesn't seem to be any reason in what we say and do. When I say reason, I mean logic. Oh, we have reasons. We have enemies, and they're stupid and they're dumb and they're idiotic and they say things that don't make sense, and it's wrong and it's not fair, and look how they're influencing other people's beliefs. Look how out there they are. Now, this is what each side says about the other. It's not just one script. It's a script that overrides the better judgment of human consciousness. They are idiots. They don't know what they're doing. We can't trust them. And they have an influence over other people. This is just terrible, terrible. Okay, well, we've identified the human condition. We've also identified the beginning of a solution, and that is for us, again, to turn within, to find the strength, to find the wisdom, to find the power, to find the resources and support that will help us better understand the situation we're in, and that we're better able to understand how to deal with it. So, Matthew and I have been doing several workshops for Unity Worldwide Ministries over Zoom in the last year. The last one we did was a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about a phenomenon called the Overton Window, which is a model for understanding how ideas in society change over time and influence politics. And so I want to introduce the topic of action and reaction by explaining the Overton window and by understanding what power our words have and how far our influence can go in relating to politicians. Okay. For many people in New Thought, I've said a dirty word, politics and politicians. I hear many delightful New Thought students saying, I don't want to sully my consciousness with politics. I don't want to talk about it. I want to think of higher things. I want to put nothing that is destructive or controversial or negative into my consciousness. And to that I say, I hear you. I mean, really, seriously, who would want to do that? Why would I want to place myself in a position where I would be privy to negative information coming in? And I have a good answer for that. And that is this. It is not coming in to an empty slate. My consciousness is a product of not only what I think and feel and what my personal habits are, but I'm also part of a collective consciousness that not only includes miracles and manifestation and answered prayer, but it includes every negative and limiting and savage-like behavior that humanity has ever engaged in. Now, for those of us who consider ourselves very civilized, we don't really want to accept that. We actually deny that. And so what happens is that the negative experiences that have been part of our human evolution and the wars and the tragedies and the genocides and all of those difficulties, we place that knowledge down deep in our subconscious where no one will ever get to it. It's so far down that we don't even understand that there is a shadow to our consciousness. And so the response I make to people who say, I don't want to put that stuff into my consciousness, I respond by saying, you think it wasn't there before? It's there. It's knowledge. It's common knowledge. Now, being inundated with that to the point where we're so enervated and so exhausted by it, that's different. But hearing and understanding the human condition, I think, is part of our responsibility. And if something really devastating goes right into my heart and fills me with pain, then I know that it's my own shadow that I'm getting in touch with and that's been triggered. And I need to do some healing. And I need to embrace that, not turn it off or try to stay away from it or pretend I don't have it within me, but to understand that this is part of the human condition And why is that important? Because we are spiritual beings learning to have a human experience. And if we try to stay away from the most vulnerable parts of our humanity because we don't want to be affected by it, then how can we feel true unity with others? If we're not willing to go through their human conditions with them, if we're not willing to be part of a change, if we're not willing to use the power we have to understand what's going on and respond to it in a helpful and transformative way, then we need to find out how we can in a different way than we've been doing, not by avoidance, but by embracing and transforming. Can we really be the change we want to see? So I want to mention the Overton window and talk a little bit about it, just so we can identify the issues that are truly important to a change. Now, we think, because we don't often delve deeply into politics, that politicians have free rein, that they can vote for whatever they want to, that they have all the power. But the fact is that they're limited in what policy ideas they can support. Politicians are limited. They generally pursue policies that are widely accepted throughout society. These policies lie inside the Overton window, and you can see on the illustration that there are issues that are within the window which are acceptable, and there are issues outside of the window which are not up for discussion or vote. Now, again, other policy issues do exist, but elected officials risk losing popular support if they champion these ideas. Occasionally, politicians can move the Overton window, very occasionally, but this is rare. Most often, the window moves based on the evolution of what the society values and what the norms are. The Overton window describes one key factor in politics, and this is the point. Politicians will not support, as I said, whatever policy they choose. They'll only support policies which they believe will not hurt their electoral chances. The range of policy options available to the politicians are shaped by ideas, social movements, and shared values within society. I'm going to repeat that. Policy options available to politicians are shaped by schools, churches, public opinion, social movements, shared values within the society, and it is we that make those and put those into being. What does this mean? It suggests that politicians are more followers than leaders. The rest of us are the ones who ultimately determine the types of policies they'll get behind, and it also implies that our social institutions, workplaces, media, places of worship, think tanks, schools, charity, other groups that reinforce societal norms are more important to shaping our policies than we typically give them credit for. So if we know this, and if we can understand that great thinkers have put a lot of time and energy and historical input into realizing this, we might not believe, oh, what good does my voice do? How can I make a difference? What can I do to make a change? I'm only one. At this point, now that we're armed with this information, if we're interested in policy change, we need to keep the Overton window in mind. We need to start at the ground level, slowly building support for ideas, joining groups, being part of the groups that relate to the ideas that are meaningful to us. These are very important things that we can do, whether or not COVID exists, whether or not we can meet or can't meet in person. There is plenty of online activity that we can be an important part of. Now, can the Overton window be shifted by lies, distortions, or misunderstandings? Of course. Absolutely. The Overton window reflects what society believes, which can be as easily influenced by truth as it can by inaccurate or deceptive information. There's so many examples. The false belief that weapons of mass destruction would be found in Iraq contributed to the support for that war. We went to war believing something that wasn't true because we were told that it was, and we believed that it was. Honestly, how would we know that it wasn't? How would the average person know that it wasn't? And so we really need to be careful. We really need to be careful what we believe, and we need to have fact-checking. We need to have research skills, and if we don't have them, we need to develop them. They're not that hard to do. Now, in the environment that we've been living in, we've seen the Overton window shifting significantly. Over the last decade, the window has swung further and further to the right, the ultra-conservative, and we've become increasingly divided to the point where, due to the extreme becoming the norm, I've mentioned this before, what used to be on the extreme is now the norm. There is very little, if any, room for middle ground or for negotiation. We can see that in recent years there's been a rise in extremism. It's now acceptable to use violence, violent language, hate speech in our everyday language. It's now affected everything beyond politics. And so what does that mean for unity, for new thought? We'll talk more about that and more about our actions and reactions after we hear some beautiful music by Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans.
Here is an interpretation of the Lord's Prayer that I and my good friend Audley Allison wrote back in Oklahoma City in about 1976. Oh a new version of the Lord's Prayer. Not so new, but since 1976.
Thank you so very much, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans, for that lovely and inspiring original rendition of the Lord's Prayer. So wonderful to be able to know that at any time we can take a deep breath and remember who we are, how much strength and power we have, how deeply and fully we were made in love. And so we are strong to face the challenges of today. We might not be as practiced as we would like to be. We might not feel that we have all the power or all the wisdom that we need. But the fact is that what we don't have by experience is easily accessible. And we need to remember to continue to take time going to the deepest part of our being, embracing our shadow, lifting our consciousness to a place where we know that we have a problem, but that we are also part of the solution, an important part of the solution. So we talked about the Overton Window taking a big shift, and we ask, what does that mean for us in unity and new thought? The window has shifted so that as ministers and congregants of New Thought, we no longer feel that we might have that safe space of saying we're open to everyone and everything. We are open, for sure, but now we have to identify our positions and draw some boundaries the way we haven't had to before. Now, taking a COVID vaccine is seen as political. Recycling our trash is seen as political. And that is the stage that has been set for us to move through and to help transform. Now, in New Thought, are we still able to say that we're inclusive and accepting of all people? Yes. There's a phrase that says unity leaves no one out. Many of us have used that over the years. But you see, that doesn't mean that we stay free of controversy. It means that our beliefs are designed to include all people and their human rights. We're inclusive in prayer. We're inclusive in welcoming all people. We are inclusive in believing that everyone deserves the best in life and was born with the Spirit of God within them. However, we're no longer open or able to sit by and welcome the behaviors associated with intolerance, extremism, and violence. We will continue to pray for and love the individuals, but we will not support behavior that is outside what we believe is supportive of humanity and human rights by staying silent. We will advocate for equal rights for minorities and the disenfranchised. We will work for healthcare reform. We will work for the betterment of society as reflected in our teachings. And now that we're beginning to see just how important our voices are, we need to become very focused and very conscious of the way our voices are heard. Again, we are open to the unity of all life. We are open to honoring and blessing the Spirit of God in all people, but we will no longer stay silent in the face of persecution of those rights. Now, I read a lot of social media to help me understand where people are in consciousness and how we use our words to make our points. And I have found that among many individuals who call themselves compassionate and progressive, there's still anger and hate speech being disseminated. Now, again, I'm not suggesting there's nothing to be angry about, but I'm saying that we need to take into consideration how to deal with our feelings in a much less public forum. We need to find ways to condition our consciousness to heal the pain and frustration inside of us, and to be able to learn to see our opponents from a different vantage point. As I shared before, it's not about stupid people or ugly people or evil people. Not at all. We need to role model the kind of communication that fosters a greater awareness of our unity of spirit and greater skills in dealing with our differences. Action and reaction. What is our purpose when we go out into the world? What is our purpose when we engage in social media? Well, my purpose is, because I have made a commitment to being the change I want to see, is to share on social media any uplifting thought, any positive response, any action that is taking place in our world that we want to see changed. And I'm very careful with the wording that I use, very careful of things that I share that have been printed by others, because I don't want to give the impression that I believe we have enemies out there, or I'm right and they're wrong, they should be ashamed of themselves, they're too stupid. None of those things. I want to talk in the voice of nonviolence, to share that there is a disparity in equal rights, to share our ideas of nonviolent reform, to communicate those ideas as though I were talking to an esteemed professor. I do not wish to belittle anyone. I do not wish to foist my ideas on anyone. I do expect to be heard, and I will listen. I want to put that out there. Is it a losing battle? Only if we don't participate. Only if we don't participate. But that is my goal, nonviolent communication skills in the style of Gandhi King, to let people know that I am very serious and knowledgeable of what I wish to see, that I'm also very respectful by sticking to the issues and not demeaning anyone's character. I want to make sure that I'm on social media often, or on any type of, even if you just use email, that's an important venue with which to express the beauty of the earth, the individuals who are in need of more equal rights, a planet that is in need of being blessed. All of these things can come from our voices. Whatever we need to do at home or during counseling to heal our anger, we need to make sure that we don't bring it to a public forum, that we are working on it, that we are evolving, that we are in a process of greater understanding and helping us own our own shadow without shame or blame. But this is what I'm asking of you. Let your voice be the voice of the change, of moving us from a culture of violence to a culture of peace, and let us bring about this new paradigm, sentence by sentence, prayer by prayer, piece by piece. Relax now and take a deep breath. Exhale slowly, and let's relax into this moment. This is a moment of understanding and claiming who we are as divine by nature and human by form. In this now moment, we can affirm, I am enough. I have all that I need to build a change in consciousness. Take that light out into the world. Speak the word of nonviolence. Write it. Share it. Expand the Overton window to include civil, honest, respectful debating among opponents. A willingness to own and bless our shadow. A desire to create genuine peace and community in a new way, a more effective way, a way that honors both our individual soul and our teachings. I am enough. And as I join with like-minded people, personally or virtually, we form a bond and a commitment to shifting the Overton window to include respect, decency, and a new, more powerful way to establish a win-win paradigm. I am, I can, and I will be the peace I wish to see in the world. I will role model tolerance, acceptance, and respect for all life. And as I let my light shine, I am able to recognize it in all others. And so it is. Amen. Friends, next Sunday, instead of our monthly in-person meeting, we are going to be meeting on Zoom in order to make certain that we are honoring the CDC guidelines for meeting in person. And so we will have a marvelous Zoom meeting, and I look forward to hearing from you to share topics that you would like to discuss. If not, I can go more deeply into the nonviolent communication skills and share more information on how we can be the change. But these are our social action meetings, our spiritual social action meetings, meaning that whatever action we take, it's grounded in principle. That doesn't mean we won't have time to share and share our humor with one another and our delight in getting together with one another. But it does loosely define the purpose of that meeting. So if any of you are listening and are not on our email list, please go to our website, unityslow.com, and give us your email address. We will share our weekly e-newsletter with you, and in there will be a link to the Zoom meeting. We hope that you join us there, and I look forward to seeing you then. I also want to talk about Diane Davison's grief recovery workshop and share with you again the dates of her upcoming meeting. I think there's one that starts next week. And so please consider this method of letting go of unwanted pain in the past, as we were discussing before, some issues that might have been buried in our shadow that are much better off lifted and transformed. Again, she's a wonderful facilitator. The course is excellent, and I highly recommend it. And so let's take a moment now to bless our tithes and offerings, to give thanks that Unity of San Luis Obispo is a beacon of light, mighty to share our good and to receive good from others. Please remember that a portion of your tithes goes to organizations that support our love for human rights and planetary reform. We know that by supporting the larger organizations that they can do so much with our contributions, and they do. And so we are truly blessed. Let's speak the words of our prosperity statement together. Freely I give, freely I receive. God is my source.
Here's a fun tune, originally written in Yiddish in 1932. Bimir bis du Shane. I think I said it pretty close. In 1937, it was translated into English, and Sammy Kahn and Saul Chaplin did that adaptation. Let's see how it goes. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Demure bis du shame. My goodness. that was kind of fun.
And you know what that means? It means you're grand, and that's what you are, Brett.
He always says the sweetest things. I mean, he's full of energy. Thanks, Matthew.
A little bit.
Thank you so much, Brett Mitchell and Matthew J. Evans. What a wonderful song, a great song, a classic. By Mir bis du Shane, for those of you who don't know, as Matthew said, it means you're grand, it means you're beautiful. And Brett and Matthew, to me, you are beautiful. By Mir bis du Shane. Thank you so much. Let's sing our peace song, shall we?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyful vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Let's speak the words now of our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Friends, please remember to press the like button and share your comments with us. We just love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Also, tune in to our latest episode of Get Off Your Affirmation. This episode is called Revolutionizing Your Resolutions, How to Manifest Your Goals. It's a powerful set of tools that I know you'll enjoy. Have a wonderful week. You deserve it.
Every single person living peace in what we do. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will our dream come true. Only then will